History lost, decks past, but in this series, we revisit older decks to see if they can be brought back to the forefront of the meta. We'll break down what made these decks great, what no longer holds up, and how modern builds can give them new life. By exploring different variants and tech choices, we'll tune each deck to fit different playstyles. Let's see if these classics still have what it takes for meta teching. What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and today I'm bringing to you guys a new meta teching deck video where we're going to be going over and describing what could we do with these decks to potentially make them more viable at a locals or even a regionals level as a random but fun competitive deck to play. One of these decks that I'm taking a look at is the sum of the Roids category. It's Silas's deck. A lot of people know this deck from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. It's a lot of fun to play overall and has a lot of good actual context for being in the GX series. The only problem is this deck has not received really any substantial additions to the deck or upgrades to the deck in quite some time since we had Roid and a few others released outside of our one, which is Roid. The other thing that I will state in this is that you don't see many people playing Roids because it is very normal summon reliant. We're looking today towards seeing if we can further advance this deck, whether it be going through and improving the special summoning mechanics or finding a new way to get more of these Roids on the field so we can get into further combos. The deck that you see here today is one that I was able to find and go through and update a little bit more. The main thing is that we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Follows, 3 Perulia, the Harpy's Feather Duster. We're basically filling it out with hand traps and other things that I know a lot of people wouldn't prefer to run, especially for lower tier events or just gaming with friends. For this, I would recommend cutting for a few more Roids or cutting for a few more support cards, such as Machine Duplication. You can do that for Mixeroid, which is really funny because you can get out 3 Mixeroid all at the same time. Another thing that you can look into doing is cutting the Follows and Perulia and Ash Blossom for Iron Call or something else along those lines. They can give you a bit more compliance, or not compliance, sorry, give you a little bit more interaction with draw power and working with that as well. You can work in a couple other things such as polymerizations and some searchers as well. The one thing I will note, we're running 3 Ready Fusion because we're playing 2 Steam Gyroid. It is a level 6 fusion that is a normal monster, so this helps out greatly with the deck overall. But this is basically just a generic deck that I was able to put together and find while doing some research on it. The few weaknesses that I've noticed from this build is that it's very reliant on the hand traps to really get into your plays, because if you get stopped with your fusion summoning, or if they out your boss monster, or if they pop your back row, you're kind of just setting there because you're usually normal summoning, get another monster, try to fuse, or try to interact in an abnormal way with going into Gear Gigant X and trying to search, but you're kind of still stuck there. This is going to take a little bit more finessing and working through to where we're not running as many traps and maybe is not as many hand traps as well, to see if we can fit in some recruiters or ways to get more monsters out on the field that we can work with. So let's go ahead and hop right in to some of our deck builds and see what we can do. First up, I have my Recruiter Roid build. This is where we're going to be playing a lot of monsters that basically work on getting the monsters out. You're looking at level 4 summoners, machine summoners, anything that has the same attack and defense summon. Basically stuff that basically allows you to get more monsters on the field faster so you can go into the Gear Gigant X or go into other plays. For perfect example, we're playing a lot of the gold. We're playing 3 gold gadget, 2 silver gadget, 3 tin goldfish, and 2 Gizmek Arakami the Hailbringer Hog. Because if you control a monster whose attack equals its own defense, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one machine monster you control whose attack equals its own defense, and send one machine monster from your deck to the graveyard whose attack equals its own defense with a lower level. We're not really worried about that. The one thing that we're looking at is Drillroid, because we can summon it off of, or when we normal summon or special summon Roid, we can special summon Gizmek Arakami and go directly into our Gearkin X, our Heavy Armor Train Iron Wolf, number 27 Dreadnought, anything along those lines as well. The other thing is, these are when they're normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 from hand. Same way with the gadgets. The only difference is with Tin Goldfish, you do not get the recurability with Gold and Silver gadget. Because Gold and Silver is when they're normal or special summon, you can special summon a level 4 monster from your hand. And if they're destroyed, you can special summon one level 4 gadget monster from your deck. So they can summon each other. Tin Goldfish is specifically on normal summon. So you could go normal summon Tin Goldfish, special summon Silver Gadget, special summon Gold Gadget, special summon Drillroid, and then special summon Gizmo Arakami if that was like the perfect hand. While that's a little bit more difficult to get on the board, we do have a couple other plays in which we can get bigger monsters on the board, such as 2 Ready Fusion for our 1 Steam Gyroid, our 1 Instant Fusion for our 1 Parapsychroid, but we're also going to be running Polymerization in case we get our actual Roids in hand, so we don't have to really worry about them being on board to Fusion Summon, or in our grave with Necro Fusion. This deck has a lot of fun capabilities as well for using Mega Roid City, where you can target one other card you control, destroy it, and if you do, add a Roid card from your deck to your hand. So during your during damage calc, if your Roid monster battles, you can send one Roid monster from your deck to the graveyard, switch the original attack and defense of the battling monster during the damage calc only. So this can help us out greatly as well, because it does let us pop a Silver Gadget, and since it's destroyed by a card effect, you can search a Gold Gadget or vice versa. So this can work pretty well into getting your searchers and being able to get you a Roid to hand, whether it's not you're going to be fusing away with it. The other thing is we're playing a Clockwork Knight because we get additional attack for our machine monsters on the board. Now, the one thing I will note here, you can cut the Triple Tactics talent to run another limiter removal. The only reason why I'm putting it in here is because you're going to run into a lot more hand traps, and if they do try to interact, you can use Triple Tactics talent to hopefully draw into more cards. The other thing that we're playing here is Power Bond and Vehicle Roid Connection Zone, where you can fusion someone Vehicle Roid, fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and its effects cannot be negated, so this can help get into some bigger bosses. The one other card that I'm still debating on is Emerge Roid Call. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a Roid fusion monster, negate the activation. Then send all cards of that same name as that card from the activating player's deck and extra deck to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Roid monster in your graveyard add to your hand. It's a really nutty effect for what it does. The problem is it's in the Roid deck. If it was really anything else, I feel like it would have a lot more good capabilities. But since Emerge Roid is a little harder to proc because you have to have specifically a Roid fusion monster, it's going to be a lot harder to really do. But since we're running Polymerization, we run 2 Ready Fusion and a Instant Fusion, we can get into Parapsychroid or Steam Gyroid pretty easily, and then be able to go into our Super Vehicroid mobile base, which can help us out because we can target one face-up monster our opponent controls, special summon a Roid monster from our deck or extra deck with attack less than or equal to that monster. So this gets us into Mixeroid or Express Roid, Drill Roid. It can get us into a lot of decent monsters, such as Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill. Fusion summon this card can only be conducted with the above fusion material monsters. During the battle phase between this attacking card and defense position monster, whose defense is lower than its attack, it's basically just piercing. So you don't really have to worry about that, but it's still good to have a 3k body on the board. The other one I'll state that everybody likes to play is the 4,000 big attack boss, which is Barbaroid, the ultimate battle machine. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. Cannot attack your opponent directly. After damage calculation, if this card attacked an opponent's monster, negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. So while being able to do 4k damage, you get the double attack plus the burn damage, which can do a lot. It is a bit hard to get out on the board since it requires 5 machine type Roids. But think about it. If you're able to amass that amount on the board, you're going to basically be able to get this big guy out and run with it. The other thing I will state is that since we have the Roids as level 10s, we can go into our Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon or Juggernaut Lieb the hard way, or you can go into Dreadnought Dreadnoid to allow you to go into the rank 10 Gustav Max and then into the Juggernaut Lieb if you need to as well. Those are all good capable cards in which you can work with. The one other thing that I will note, this deck does have a little bit of problem with hand traps or back row, so I ran an additional Call by the Grave and Harpy's Feather Duster instead of just cutting them outright. The other thing is if you're looking for an extra body or if you want to revive a boss, Monster Reborn is probably the better way to go about it. The one thing I will state here is if you're looking to cut down on the hand traps and run a more pure build, you can cut the Molcharmy Fallows and the Ash Blossoms, run one more Dragon Roid. You can run an additional of each other Roid, so you have the capabilities of finding them, which can help out greatly as well if you're looking to increase your consistency of seeing Roids, but not at the same time if you're looking to cut down on hand traps. Anyways, that's all I got for the Recruiter Roids build. It's a lot of fun. You're basically just amassing a bunch of level 4s or fusion monsters on the board, or just utilizing the link summoning to get into further plays, but this deck does have a lot of good capability to further your builds. Anyways, let's hop right in to our final deck build. Alright, so for our final deck build, I went with a small Dynomist package. This is something that a lot of people forget does exist as Dynomists. Dynomists are a great way to get get a pendulum summon. They're machines, they are water types. They give you access into Cyber Dragon Infinity and Nova to give you further capability of setting up negation. This way you don't have to really run hand traps, but you're also giving yourself the free capability of being able to summon out your level 4 Roid monsters pretty easily. You can also keep the recruiters of Silver Gadget and Gold Gadget as well, because you can take your Dynomist level 4s and your gadgets and go directly into a Geargigan X to search for another machine monster. The other thing is that Dynomist Brachion and Dynomist Ceratops are great cards in general, because Ceratops is basically a Cyber Dragon if you control a Dynomist monster. And you don't control a Dynomist Ceratops. And Dynomist Brachion is if you don't control a Dynomist Brachion, you can basically special summon it. If your opponent controls the monster, you don't. That's basically the way I look at it. But in better form, it's if your opponent controls a monster with higher attack than you do. That's still a free level 5 nonetheless if you're going second, which can help out greatly. You can also pendulum summon it. It's a level 6 scale. We're running 5 6 scales and 5 3 scales. The other thing that I will state is that we're also running Dynomist Charge, because when this card's activated, you can add a Dynomist monster from your deck to your hand, and then if one of your Dynomist monsters is destroyed or added to your extra deck face up, you can then trigger Dynomist Charge to add it back to your hand, so you get a little bit more recursion in there, while you're still keeping the same fusion summoning scale down here. What I would recommend is probably cutting the droplets down and running an additional Ready Fusion, so you can run 2 Steam Gyroid and probably cut out, honestly, if you wanted to cut out the links, you could cut out the Clockwork Knight and the Platinum Gadget, run an additional Steam Gyroid, and you could run another Geargigan X, that way giving you full board capability of getting your searches, but having enough out there to really work with. While this deck does give you the capability of just being able to put out a lot of monsters, you do have that capability to build your boards as well. We're also still running the polymerizations. The Megaroid City, I did cut it down from 3 to 2 because we don't really want to pop our own pendulum cards if we can help it. We can, but it doesn't really help us if we're looking to mass special summon. You could do it afterwards and then trigger Dynomist Charge to add it back, which could help out greatly if you're looking for an additional monster in hand. The other thing I will state is that we do have Dynomist Ankylos. This pendulum effect is really great. And its monster effect isn't something to laugh at either, because once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate an activated card effect that targets another Dynamis card or cards you control, then destroy this card. That's what most of the other Dynamis pendulum effects are. But the Dynamis Ankylos has the effect of banish any monster destroyed by battle with a Dynamis monster you control. So, if you destroy an opponent's monster with a 2000 or 2100 attack monster, you can banish it as well, which can help out greatly. And that's why Dynamis Ankylos is on the board. The other thing I will state is Petron is our Dino Mist Searcher. This will get us into our Dynamis Charge or search for any of the monsters that we need. The other reason why I'm playing a Foolish Burial, though, is so if we need to get something into the grave, whether it be an Armoroid or anything really to just work with, we can put it in the graveyard. Nothing wrong with that. It just gives us an extra body if we need to recur something out of the grave or back onto the board. Power Bond is the same thing as last time. We're just using it to really double our attack if we need to. And go into our bigger boss monsters, which can help out greatly. Because this turns our 4K attacker into an 8K attacker, similar to that of Cyber End Dragon, but it can still kill us as well if we're low enough on health. But that's basically all that I have for these videos. I'm sorry it's a little bit shorter on this one. The Roids are a little bit more difficult to work with, but I will go over here shortly on what they each do for those that don't know what they actually do. The Roids, for Mixer Roid, you contribute one machine monster, special summon one non-win Roid monster from your deck. You can pay half your life points and banish any number of machine monsters from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon from your extra deck one Roid fusion monster with the same level as the number of those banished, which can help you get into your level 5s and stuff like that. But it does help to get into your fusion summon as well. Drill Roid, it's basically before damage calculation. If it attacks defense position monster, destroy that monster. Dragon Roid, once returned if this card is in your graveyard, you can make this card become a dragon while in the graveyard. Until the end of this turn, you can discard this card. Okay, easy there on the scroll wheel. You can discard this card, then activate one of these effects. Add one non-wind Roid monster from your deck to your hand. This turn, the activation of your cards and effects that include the effect to fusion summon a fusion monster cannot be negated. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is fusion summoned this way. So that can help out greatly as well. It's also a good little trigger if you're trying to protect your fusions from going through, or protect them to go through. Submarine Roid, this card can attack your opponent directly, but when it does, using this effect, the battle damage inflicted to your opponent is the original attack of this card, which is 800. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you can change this card to defense position. Steam Roid, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 500 attack during damage step only. If it's attacked by an opponent's monster, it loses 500 attack. And then we have Express Roid. When this card is summoned, you can target 2 Roid monsters in your graveyard, except Express Roid, and add those targets to hand. So it's a good way to get those monsters in to your hand for the fusion summon later on. These are just some interesting ways that you can play this deck. I would recommend that if you're looking to build Roids, this is a good starting pack on what you could look towards building if you're looking for something a little bit more competitive or something you would like to try out. Do note you can build these decks in any way, shape, or form you like, and I recommend trying to build them to the best fit of your playstyle. That's the only way you're really going to enjoy this deck, whether or not I sat here and explained the deck entirely from start to finish. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.